Personally, I'm a huge fan of Joe Desjardins. I am so glad he's going to be a speaker at Canadian Imaging 2026. Mike, do tell our audience if they've ever thought of photographing landscape or wildlife, why they absolutely have to attend his talk.
Yeah, definitely. If you're involved with wildlife or landscape, Joe Desjardins is one of these lectures you gotta attend. Joe is supported by Sony, and he's a leading wildlife and landscape photography who openly shares his expertise. He offers insight into the stories behind his well-known images and provides practical tips for improving your own photography. So after your lecture from Joe, if you want to get out there and photograph landscape and wildlife, you're going to walk away with a treasure trove of knowledge.
Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Joe Desjardins. If you are someone who wants to be inspired by amazing wildlife images, you have to take a look at his galleries on his website. If you'd like to know more about other photographers and how they became successful, listen to his podcast, The Nature Photo Guys, which he co-hosts with his friend Chris Gibbs. But if you want to up your game and learn from a master, you have to come and listen to him speak at Canadian Imaging 2026. Now, Joe, I'm a huge fan of your work, your podcast,
thanks.
And today I'm thrilled to be speaking with you. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, Manpreet. I'm really excited to present at a PPOC conference. And thanks for having me on. I'm excited to share what you have to ask me.
Well, since today you are sitting in the guest seat,
I know.
I'm going to ask you the same question you ask every guest when you
Yes.
bring them onto your podcast.
Yes. Okay.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Joe?
Okay. Well, I've been doing photography for about 30 years. I started in a different type of genre. I was a commercial photographer. So pretty much everything I did as far as product photography, portraiture, that sort of thing was done in studio. Then I branched out in the wedding photography. So a lot of that was the traditional in-studio stuff. And then, outside for some of those portraits. And then, being in Northern Ontario, nature was at my doorstep. So I slowly progressed. Not that I wasn't taking nature photos, but I slowly progressed into advancing my skills and moving forward with that. And then ended up moving out west about 23 years ago. And I mean, the first time I seen the Canadian Rockies, well, that was it. So my love for nature photography just exploded. And not that I still wasn't doing commercial work, so I was still doing a lot of weddings and portraiture and stuff. But I eventually just dropped that about 10 years ago and concentrated on nature and wildlife photography.
Yeah, that's how a lot of us get started, including me. Well, I started 40 years back with the large format, but last 4-5 years, nature photography has just called to me. So your work has taken you from Alberta all the way up north,
Yes,
and has made you a very sought-after educator and a dominant name in wildlife and nature photography world. So much so that Sony cameras have also reached out to you You want to talk a bit about that, and don't shy away from all your achievements?
Oh, that's a tough one. I really don't like talking about myself all that much. I like hosting the interviews, but being on this side of the camera, like you had said, it can be a little nerve wracking. But Sony, it started with talking to the guys at the camera store here in Calgary, Alberta, and they had mentioned Sony, and I was a Canon shooter at the time, and they said, you know what, just, maybe you should kind of think about Sony, maybe, we'll put you in touch with the Sony rep and, that sort of thing. And I was like, well, I'm okay. It's fine. I'm not really kind of looking right now, but, I had a bit of interest. And then the week after, they'd actually put me in contact with our local rep. And it was great chat and everything. He gave me some gear to go try out. The Sony Alpha A1, a 400-2.8, 2-600. The kind of mirror what I was shooting with right now. And just that afternoon, I was blown away, and I'm thinking, wow, this is some pretty good stuff. With I always talk about the animal eye detect and focus tracking and everything else, which is really important as a wildlife photographer. And so we started the discussion, and lo and behold, I'm here. I'm a Sony shooter, a Sony Alpha shooter and creator, and made the complete transition, and I couldn't be happier. The equipment I have, the Sony Alpha A1 2s. And then again, shooting the 400-2.8, 2-6, all this other stuff has just been absolutely amazing. So I'm looking forward to this year, working with Sony, speaking to the events here, and seeing what the future holds here.
So, what can someone who comes to the Canadian Imaging Conference expect to learn listening to you? Or, in other words, what will they miss out if they don't come?
I'll be talking about, kind of the real process behind strong wildlife and landscape images, not just the final photo, but, the decisions that lead up to it. Things like, reading light before it peaks, anticipating animal behavior, especially, to get those images, composing, under pressure, and making technical choices to support the story, behind them, or instead of distracting it. So I'll also, walk people through a few of my images from start to finish, including what went wrong, and how I had to adapt in the field, because yourself, it's ever changing.
Yeah.
You have this mindset, this plan in place, and it's never that. So it's always something that's challenging. So, like most photographers know the basics, aperture, shutter speed, ISO.
Right.
It's not going to be a talk about that. What I find a lot of photographers, they may struggle with like consistency, maybe some confidence in unpredictable conditions, like I just talked about there. And hopefully the talk will give them some tools, to think about, in the moment, read situations faster, and maybe help with better creative decisions. Yeah.
But Joe, I'm really looking forward to meeting you and listening to you speak. I am so thrilled that this year you are one of the speakers at the Canadian Imaging Conference. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Manpreet. Looking forward to meeting you and everybody else at the conference. And I'm absolutely honored to have been asked to speak. And we'll see you guys in April.
Absolutely.
Thank you.